this video, I'm going to show you how to properly take your measurements. So what you need is just some measuring tape, or you can also use a string and measure out that piece of string against a tape measure. So what you're going to start off by doing, there's going to be a couple of different areas that I'm going to suggest you take. And I'm going to suggest that you take the measurements at least 3 times and then take an average of those measurements. Now, whenever you're taking measurements, again, it's also important that you're wearing clothes that aren't baggy. Ideally, you should take your measurements completely naked, but obviously not going to do that in the demonstration video. So I'm just wearing tight-fitting clothes so that way I can get the most approximate numbers of my body. So the first measurement we're going to take is our hips. So that's going to be basically at the widest part. So basically right in the middle of your rear end is where you're going to take that measurement. So you're going to start where it starts with 1, and you don't want it to be pulled super tight. You want it to just be tight enough that it's lying flat against your body. So just like this, you can see it's across the widest part of my butt. And then I'm going to write that measurement down. Then I'm going to do that 3 times, and then I'm going to take the average of those. So for example, if I measured 40, 41, and 42, then I'm going to add all those together, divide by 3 to get the average. So then the next measurement I'm going to take is my waist at its narrowest part. So this is going to be different for everybody, just depending upon your anatomy. But mine is right above my belly button. You can tell just by putting your hands in that area. So it's going to be where your waist is at the narrowest point. So again, same thing. You're going to take the tape measure or the measuring tape, and you want it to lay flat across your body, just like that. And then you're going to take that measurement 3 times and take the average. The next measurement that I want you to take is your neck. And the reason we do this is because by accounting for your hip measurement, your waist measurement, your neck measurement, and then your height and your weight, we can get an approximate body fat percentage without having to use all the fancy body fat equipment that's out there. So same thing, this one's a little bit harder. So right just at the middle of your neck, making sure it's laying flat against your neck, and then pull it away and then look at the measurement. So again, you're going to take that 3 times and then take the average. So those are the measurements that I want as far as tracking your progress for weight loss. Now, if you're wanting to track your progress as far as gaining muscle, you can also do your biceps and your legs. So for your bicep, you're just going to take it right in the middle of your arm. So right directly in the middle between your shoulder and your elbow, and you'll do that 3 times. And then your legs, you're going to do it at the widest part of your leg. So usually for most people, that's going to be right up here, right like at the top of your thigh. And again, you're going to take the average of those. You can also, if you wanted to do a lower quad, you could do it right where your quad pokes out, right above your knee, and you could take that measurement as well. So those are the measurements that I would suggest that you take. I would highly encourage taking measurements, because especially if you're lifting weights, because as we gain muscle, the density of our weight goes up. So we have more weight because we're gaining muscle. But at the same time, we can also be losing body fat. So on the scale, it might show that you've only lost half a pound, but maybe you've lost 2 inches. And so we can see a reduction in inches and not necessarily see that being correlated on the scale. So it's really important that you're taking your measurements for your progress if you are exercising, just as another way to track your progress. So I would highly suggest taking your measurements when you first start out, write those down, and then every 2 weeks to 3 weeks, rechecking your measurements and watching your progress that way, along with progress pictures and measurements. And then also the scale, we're going to see how you're progressing and use all 3 of those to determine what adjustments need to be made to your macros and your exercise.